You might be asking, if it doesn't even affect anyone, then why do you care? And
Good
my
question.
answer is twofold. One is that this is an act of political theater intended to appease Donald Trump ahead of the US hosting the 2028 Games.
Why would they need to appease Donald Trump before they host the Olympic Games?
What?
This has... I'm over
Or
it.
Clarkson's gonna rage quit.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
Hey, guys. Welcome to Normal Gays, where we take out insanity. I'm Brad Polumbo here with Clarkson Lawson.
What's up, guys? We reacted to Fruit Love Island last weekend. And
Love
we want
Island?
we want you to watch it with us. So join as a normie, a member in the comments. Click the link.
In the meantime, we're going to check in with our favorite non-binary crackhead.
I felt like I was a hostage when I was saying that. I feel like a hostage every time I have to deliver a line. So I'm going to put my arms behind the chair like I'm tied up.
Okay, but you did see the news that the Olympics...
I have no idea what you said.
Oh, that we're checking in with our favorite non-binary crackhead?
We have... Okay.
That could describe many people, actually.
I told Brad... we already talked about this. I told Brad, we've got to expand our topics. All we talk about is trans people and fat people and non-binaries. And
today we have
the
fat people story, a trans people story,
okay, so
and
today,
a non-binary.
And we have to record. So we've recorded for 3 days straight because our editor's going out of town. And I came in today and he goes, yeah, we've got like a Caleb Hammer thing. I said, it's great. We're going to be reacting to Financial Audit. And then it turns out she's fat.
And it was mostly about fatness.
And then he says, we've got something about the new Harry Potter series. I'm like, that's great. I would love to talk about it. We only react to trans commentary on the Harry Potter
that's
series.
the big discourse about it.
I get it, but it's trans. And then now we've got what?
Non-binary.
Okay. Buckle up, guys.
But also...
I'm here as hostage.
I also always say to him, feel free to plan your own topic. Crickets.
Yeah.
So, you can only complain so much.
I mean, I plan some things.
Like 1 out of 30?
Yeah. Well, I send you things, but like you don't want to talk about the things I want to talk about.
Like what?
Like gay Twitter drama.
I told you we could do that.
Okay.
And you just never prepared it. Anyway, we're just checking, Matt Bernstein. That's who, the non-binary crackhead.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Though he really looks more like meth head.
I mean, isn't he beefing up?
Maybe a little now, but his profile pictures look all like they look like Ariana.
That's just the New York look.
The Ariana, they've got the
very
gaunt,
pale, they're very gaunt, they're overworked, they're walking everywhere.
Anyway, he is upset because the Olympics just announced that biological males will not be able to compete in women's sports. Crazy, I know. So he's very mad about this. Let's watch.
Trans women are banned from competing in the Olympics. So you're probably...
Oh.
Is that tape on his finger?
Well, okay, that's not important. Does that sound true to you?
What did he say?
Trans women are banned from the Olympics.
That's not true.
They can compete with the other males.
Correct.
So that's not a ban.
I mean, I don't know why we're expecting...
I just hate, he spread so much straight up misinformation.
Everybody does. Even when I got on today, like the Erica Kirk.
There were so many fake posts about that.
Everything's fake. Everything on social media is fake.
It's a real problem.
Like nothing is real. So I'm thinking, we should start lying about.
No.
Actually, you know what? That's my New Year's resolution. I want to lie more.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to lie.
Probably wondering, how many trans people does this apply to? The answer is probably none. In the 130-year...
Yeah, they're so mad. But it applies to no one and is irrelevant and is a non-issue. But also we freak out whenever you restrict it. This is what they did with the trans kids thing. When we were like, stop sterilizing minors. They were like, that never happens and isn't ever real, ever occurring. So it's like, all right, then sure, you won't mind us banning it. And they're like, no, you can't.
The only time that argument works is when it's done to highlight the priorities of politicians with other things going on. Like if you're a politician that only talks about like trans people, but there's so much other going on and you never talk about that, that's a fine argument to make. But this is the Olympic Committee. This is quite literally their job to make sure that sports are fair. So it's not like, you can't make this commentary like, oh, this never happens, it doesn't matter, so why do they care about it? They're not politicians. This is it's their job to care about this type of stuff.
He's also already wrong again, because he said this won't apply to anyone. Do you remember Iman Khalif?
Yes. Yeah.
So the problem is that transgender women athletes...
And Laurel Hubbard, right? The weightlifter?
Well, I don't know that
I don't know if
I don't know that she ever won anything. That wasn't Olympics. I don't know, but I think
in the Olympics.
I think it's true.
Well, winning anything, I don't think it matters if they win.
They take a space still.
They take a space. It's like people make this argument about Riley Gaines too. And if you've never played sports, I understand you think winning is the only thing that matters. But placing top 5 versus 4th there is a difference in the athlete's mind. Yeah. And I don't think that the person who's placing 4th place or 5th place or 3rd place, and then it gets taken up by a trans woman, I don't think that's fair, and I don't think it's right.
But the point is that there aren't almost any trans women athletes competing in the Olympics, and that is true. But what that ignores is that the open-ended, purely hormone-based rules that used to be in place allowed these athletes like Iman Khalif and like Caster Semenya, who have intersex conditions and are actually male, allowed them to compete, and that's not fair. And they're also banned by this. Right. And now those are not trans women, right? They're people.
They're intersex people.
And it's complicated. I actually feel very bad for them. I have compassion for them because, especially growing up somewhere like Algeria with Iman Khalif, you have female genitalia, you appear female, yet you have internal male testes and other things, and your body responds to testosterone, and you go through, like, you get some male puberty advantage. I mean, that's like probably horrible to go through, but you shouldn't be allowed to box women and beat the crap out of them. And Iman Khalif literally won. Yeah. So you can't be like, oh, it doesn't affect anyone. It doesn't matter.
This is already phrased as like, oh, they're doing this because, like, I feel the sentiment from their side is they're doing this because it's a culture war thing. And
which is not true for the Olympics.
Trans people, and it's like, that's not why they're doing it.
You could argue that's why, like, Trump emphasizes it, or Republicans.
I mean, Republicans use trans people as a scapegoat and a distraction for a bunch of I'm sorry, especially Republican influencers. If they don't want to comment on what Trump's doing, they make a video about a trans person, and then everybody goes, woo-ha, that's a man. So it's like, I get it. But the Olympics, that's not what's happening with this.
The Olympics' job.
Yeah.
They have to make a decision one way or the other.
Yeah.
And when they do, it's going to be big news, but we're going to have misinformation from these people.
Year history of the Olympics, in which roughly 10,000 athletes compete each summer games and 3,000 each winter games, there has been one trans woman athlete. And she didn't even place in anything.
Intersex athletes.
So much for domination. So at this point, you might be asking, if it doesn't even affect anyone, then why do you care? And my answer is twofold. One is that this is an act of political theater intended to appease Donald Trump ahead of the U.S. hosting the 2028 games.
No, it isn't.
No, why would they need to appease Donald Trump before they host the Olympic Games?
They're not going to take it away or stop it. The U.S. really will benefit a lot from it. Yeah. And if you I watched the actual statement put out by the woman in charge of the IOC who made this decision. It was very measured. It talked about how everybody should be treated with dignity. Everyone should be able to compete in athletics, but at the highest levels of competition, we have to prioritize fairness and safety, and that's why we're making this move. So it's like this really, obviously the Republicans and conservative culture warriors are celebrating it, but that's not who's doing this, or why it's being done.
Very rarely do I see somebody who is actually an athlete comment on this in the way that he is.
Oh, yeah, clearly. The way he just said,
I remember when Simone Biles made a comment on it, but it wasn't necessarily saying that, like, I forgot what her comment was, but she wasn't saying that it was fair. But she was saying that, like, Republicans are using it as whatever. I don't remember exactly what she said. And the minute she posted that, everybody in the gymnastics community went after her, and she had to backtrack.
Interesting.
You don't remember that?
I don't know.
It was in like the height of the election season.
Okay.
So I think that her commentary was more on like the sentiment that Republicans are talking about. But everybody, she like, Simone Biles backed off.
Why? Because the actual gymnastics community
because
disagreed?
Everybody went off on her.
Interesting.
Because it's like, it's 1 + 1 = 2.
That's like he's saying, and the person didn't even win. It's a spot at the Olympics.
Right. And it's like, it's not even about winning. It's that men and women have different body types, like literally, especially in gymnastics. Like, that's why women do balance beam and men have 6 events and women have 4. They're different events. There is a difference between a man and a woman. And it's like, you have to have a clear distinction somewhere.
But then again, this person literally thinks he's non-binary. So
yeah, I guess we're trying to reason with nothing.
Games, and he's already said he's very happy about it. And we know that is part of a broader political project to make trans people even more of second-class citizens than they already are. Like, if this movement was really about fairness in sports, then why did the Kansas government make a list of trans people and invalidate their driver's licenses overnight?
What does that have to do with the Olympic Committee?
Literally nothing. If this was really about
Why are you
fairness,
this is like,
what?
what are you talking about? The Kansas government, sure, yeah.
We talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah, and I would say yes, that was, I didn't agree with that decision.
I do, because I think
Right.
those are wrong, but we talked about it.
Right, we talked about it, but that has no correlation to the Olympics making this decision.
Just bring up other random.
It's like, oh, trans people are being attacked by like a person. This person down the street got attacked, therefore, like, this affects this person. Like, what?
Also, it's ignoring the fact that the extreme positions, like allowing males in female sports, are why society has such a strong pendulum swing.
They will never admit,
because that requires accountability.
Yeah, they will never admit that, because they would be hanged at, you know, in front of the crowd of their like woke peers if they said anything along those lines. Because Gavin Newsom tried to say it, and then everybody freaked out. And then who else tried to say it? There's a few Democrats who have
Didn't
said
Pete Buttigieg say
it.
like,
Yeah, Pete Buttigieg
he
did
barely
it, and
even said
everybody's
it.
like, it's white gays, white gays, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you can't say anything.
Your new BFF.
I know.
Enjoy.
We're trying to come back to sanity.
It's not working.
Riley Gaines, the anti-trans professional loser, said it best herself.
The gender ideology movement is a house of cards, and I believe it's lying on that sports issue. This will be the card that makes it all crumble.
So it actually does.
Why did you do like such a creepy voiceover?
This is so dramatic. Riley Gaines isn't on the Olympic Committee.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Riley.
What are you talking about?
You don't have to like Riley Gaines, but she's correct about this.
This issue, yeah. Like, I don't know.
Actually does matter that a major institution like the International Olympic Committee is lending legitimacy to a hate movement whose target is not trans athletes, but just trans people. But I said...
Oh my God.
Also, why is he calling Riley Gaines a professional loser? That proves the point, because she, even though she got fifth with Leah Thomas still ended up getting the trophy and she didn't. So it proves her point. Fifth place is not something to be ashamed of. It's something to be proud of in NCAAs.
It's really
And if somebody
impressive.
takes your spot...
And you just belittling it like this?
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, you didn't win and the trans person didn't win, therefore there is no advantage. It's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Whatever.
I said this issue is twofold, because this does affect athletes who are cisgender. Because banned too are cisgender female athletes who have naturally higher testosterone levels, like the track athlete Caster Semenya. Caster is a cisgender woman with a DSD, or difference in sex development, which...
Caster literally has testicles. It has admitted this. Caster, and we already talked about this, I have sympathy for these people because it must be a very difficult experience to have a DSD. A cisgender woman is a meaningless term. Caster is genetically male. And you're saying this person will be excluded.
This unfortunate track star with balls can't compete against women. I don't want to do this I want to talk about fun things. I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to...
We're close to done with he, they.
God.
We're close to done with he, they.
Which she only learned she had when she was 18, when she was forced to take a sex test.
You can't show that picture and then say...
They'll be like, this is so unfair that they're not allowed in women's sports.
Caster...
But also, I can't.
I don't want to say anything about Caster, but like, come on.
It's because it's not her fault that she has this condition or that the policies allowed her to compete, but it should never have been allowed. And I do always find this, that I don't know if he's going to do it, because I don't even remember. I watched this once through, but I don't even remember if he's going to do it. But they always do this thing where they're like, now cisgender women are going to be subjected to invasive...
She's not cisgender. They're the one who say there's multiple genders. Now they're reinforcing a binary by putting intersex people as cisgender.
The problem is that Caster Semenya is a cisgender woman, because cisgender woman is a meaningless term. All it means is that you were assigned female at birth and you identify as a female. Caster was assigned female at birth and identifies as a woman. But the problem is that assigned was always... Caster was assigned female at birth incorrectly. because she has a DSD. So she has internal testicles and then outward appearing female genitalia.
But their idea of cisgender is not just that. They use cisgender as a way to say that if you are an actual woman, because they know what an actual woman is.
Well, they would never say
They would never say it, but that's what a cisgender means. And this, what's the name?
This one?
No, not
Caster Semenya.
Caster is intersex. So literally the left-wing argument is that there's more than two sexes. There's more than two genders. And then now you're invalidating the actual third option.
Yeah.
By calling her cis.
I think Caster,
because she's not,
is intersex. Yeah. But technically
Caster
male.
is the scientific third option.
I think even though
you can
still classify them ultimately as male
one or
female,
the other, but there is a difference.
Of course.
And Caster is the anomaly.
But they're just describing a cisgender woman.
Right, that left-wing people use to say there are more than two genders.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they are now throwing that talking point away to make Caster just seem like a regular cis person.
The point I didn't finish was that they always say it's going to be invasive, there's going to be genital checks. It's the SRY gene test. They literally just swab your cheek. That's it. That's all they have to do. One time in their life, cheek swab.
If you think that checking hormone levels and checking all of that type of stuff is done by looking.
Well, this is about
genitals,
actually your chromosome.
Right. It would be done through blood work, yeah?
No, it's a cheek swab. And they're looking at your cells.
Level. Oh, okay.
Because they're looking. The
they
SRY
don't check
is
testosterone levels at all?
No. Well, they also check that, but the Olympic policy will be they're testing for an SRY gene, so that was only found on a Y chromosome.
Okay.
Because obviously XX is female, XY is male. Though there's again these super rare intersex
and Olympic
conditions.
people have to go through testing anyways.
They have to go through so much more invasive testing than a cheek swab.
The only people who are on this side are people who have never been athletes.
I don't know what you're talking about. He looks super athletic to me.
No, he's actually gotten kind of ripped. He has.
All right, sure, but I just find him repulsive.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, me too.
Because her competitors thought she looked like a man. Doesn't sound racist at all. In order to keep competing,
he's saying it's racist to think the person with testicles.
So you're saying black women look like men?
That's what he's saying that we think, but I'm like, well, no, in this case, the person literally is male.
No, but him even making it a race thing.
They always
He's the one who brought in the black community. So it is him who is concluding that black women look like men. Because we weren't even thinking that.
Well, I was thinking that Caster Semenya looks like a man.
Black.
But not because she's black, but because she looks like a man.
But the fact that you brought race into it makes me think that you think that black women look like men. And I think that's problematic. I do.
She was forced to take medication to suppress her natural hormone levels, which gave her chronic nausea and blood clots. So, if you're celebrating this news as some great victory for someone, somewhere, I have to ask, how much does your gas cost right now? What about your health insurance? How many people in this country have been arrested for their ties to Jeffrey Epstein? And why do you think people in power want to make such a huge deal out of a ban on trans people where there are no trans people to ban to protect an area of sports they demonstrably have no respect for?
I must tell you, we're going to have to bring the women's team. You do know that.
What does this have to do? Do you think that any overarching power, do you just think that the Olympic Committee is working with the government to cover up the Epstein files and then they make this decision because they know that Trump is in the Epstein files? The level of dumbass conspiratorial thinking that you have to think, oh, this happened. Oh, the president must have done it. That's not how the world works.
Blue and on. I mean, seriously, should the Olympic Committee not have decided this way because of the Epstein file? These are two circles and there's no Venn diagram.
They are not connected.
These things aren't.
It is entirely possible that politicians are using this story
sure,
to cover things up.
To distract from
But to insinuate
things.
that the story is happening.
How high is your gas prices? Yeah, so the IOC, when they were meeting to decide their policies for 2028, they should have said, well, we can't enact this policy because the U.S. is at war with Iran. What?
This has...
Oh, my God.
I don't like this. There was a point I was going to make and I forgot it.
Well, I think we could just wrap it up there.
It was going to be a really good one too, but I forgot.
I'm sure it was going to be really good.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, let us know what you think in the comments. Make sure to subscribe, do become a channel member, and drop down other topics and stories you want us to talk about that aren't fat, trans, or non-binary.
I'm over it. I'm over
it. Or Clarkson's going to rage quit.
Yeah, I know.
Bye, guys.
Bye.